Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Friday, June 4th, 2010. This morning we're going to look at the inspector again, and this morning we're going to look at extending the way the inspector displays a given object. Nothing terribly tricky, just this. Here we have a class called employee. It has three attributes: ID, phone, and name. And what we want to do is have one of those pieces of information, the name, show up immediately when we do the inspect. So to show you what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and do this. I'm just having a new employee. I do an inspect on that. And as you would expect, you get an employee. This is what you usually see. And of course, these are all nil. What I'd like, though, is if I create a new one and do this, fill in all the instance variables with data, and then do an inspect. And I didn't put a period here, so let's do that. If I do all that and put in inspect, what we'd like to see is we'd like to see this come up as an employee named, and then put the name. So how does that work? Well, let's leave this inspector open for a moment. And what we're going to do is browse all the implementers of print on. Now, it turns out print on is what gets you to that customized display here in the inspector. And you notice a lot of classes have a customized print on so that they can put out the class name followed by something specific. So here's absent class import, ASCII row message, a bunch of stuff for ASN. So if you scroll down, you'll find a bunch of things customize the way they put out stuff in an inspector. And this is just programmer level data. It's not really intended to go in a user interface. It's expected to go into the programmer tool, the inspector. So with that in mind, let's go down to our class and we'll put in a new method. We don't really have to worry about the category because it'll auto categorize. So we're going to put in print on a stream. And then we'll put in super print on stream. And then we'll put in stream next put all named, comma, self name. And that should do it. Now we come down here, we'll click off that and on, and you see now an employee named James Robertson. So it updated the way the inspector views things. So let's close this, go down here, and let's just see how that works now if we have something that doesn't have anything in the name variable. Keep in mind that I'm not initializing this stuff into the initialize method. I'm not putting empty strings there. So if I do this, you would expect something weird to happen. Well, in older versions of the product, you'd actually get an exception in the inspector, and this was a bad thing. So now the inspector pops up and tells you there's an error here trying to display that custom message. And of course, that's because we've got nil there. That's why it has this problem concatenating two things by putting out named, comma, and then there's nil, so it blows up. But it doesn't blow the inspector up. It at least allows you to inspect. And if I were to fix this by putting in something here, like, I don't know, let's put in Fred Flintstone. We'll accept that. Now we go back to self, and you see there it's fixed. An employee named Fred Flintstone, so it works. So the inspector is a little smart. If you screw up your print on method, or if you haven't properly initialized the object that you're inspecting, it will not die on you. It'll just tell you, hey, problem here, something you probably need to look at. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.